time I'm joined by esteemed panelists on stage because the issue at hand that we are going to discuss is very important. And this reflects when it comes to the changes in society, both comes with positives and negatives. And this is where we are going to a little bit have a more attention or focus when it comes to the negatives and how can one counter them, especially when it comes to the area of healthcare, because this amounts to, reflecting on our lives, on our health, and for a very, very long time. So joining us here on stage, as I said, eminent guests, and when we speak of strengthening regulatory compliance, what does it mean in the long run? And what does it mean when it comes to recent cases that have been in the news, sir? Let's begin with you. How would you see the concerns that have been raised with substandard drugs, counterfeit drugs? How can one actually, challenge and acknowledge them and to remove them from the system altogether?
Thank you very much. I think this is a very tricky question, and actually identifying a counterfeit drug is impossible. So like there is no system or there is no process how you can identify whether this drug is spurious or it is a counterfeit drug. Because those who are into this business, they replicate, or maybe sometime it is better than the original packings. So it's difficult. And the end user is the patient and he doesn't have a choice of selecting the drug. Many a times the responsibility goes to the doctor. So in my opinion, in my 30 years experience, I have gone through many cases of counterfeit drugs for our company where we have gone into investigation. And seeing both the packs, it was completely difficult for me to understand which one is real. Probably with the evolution of AI, blockchain, or the new coding systems, there has to be something on the pack. The regulators should make it mandate so that the patient does scan the pack and understand whether it is a original pack or it is a counterfeit drug. Probably that is the only way it can be held. Or the second thing is, it is the regulators who have to ensure that these contract manufacturing companies who they do not have their own marketing process, but they manufacture for many companies. They have to bring in some control over there. That would also reduce the counterfeit drugs.
Can doctors be deceived too, sir? Can doctors be deceived too when we speak of such kind of drugs that are, largely available? Can doctors be deceived too?
Yes. At the same time, because after the patient, the doctors are the most vulnerable in the most vulnerable situations. When you are using a drug, you're not knowing the quality exactly, whether it is a spurious drug or a normal drug, then either you have, what are the possibilities? Either you have a low action of the drug, blood sugar will not be controlled, blood pressure is not controlled, cholesterol will be remaining high. At the same time, there may be a no effect of the drug, there may be a failure of the drug in terms of the response. This creates two kinds of problem. One, there is a no effect, there can be an ineffectivity of the drug, as well as the symptoms regarding withdrawal of the drug. Suppose you are taking a steroids, corticosteroids from some disease for a long time, and suddenly you become very sick and life-threatening situation because spurious drug is there, you don't know, you're giving the drug is not there. At the same time, when you're talking about the antibiotics, you are giving at a lower dose, in a substandard dose, the patient is not cured. That is one important thing. There you are not getting the adequate response. But at the same time, the bacteria are growing, there are more resistance are coming up, resistant bacteria is going up, and that affects the other people, this multi-drug resistant. If you see nowadays, many of the reports, as a nephrologist, we get many of the urine culture sensitivity report, is a multi-drug resistant Klebsiella, is responding to no drugs. So this is in a several way, it is very dangerous for the doctors, because the doctors always wants the patients to be cured or is improved. And if they're after the experience of so many years of practicing, they see that the adequate response is not coming, then they should raise the flag, because this is the pivotal point. That is the affection of the patient first, society, but doctors are very close to them.
So whose credibility, sir, then comes at stake? Does it come the credibility of the manufacturer of the drug? Does it come to the credibility of the doctor who is giving it? What about the patient trust?
See, first we have to understand what is a substandard drug, what is a spurious drug. there's a difference between the two. When we say spurious drug, it's in legal parlance, it's called a counterfeit drug. So this is a replica of the drug which does not contain drug at all. So suppose some famous brand is there. So ultimately what happened, these culprit, the criminals, they try to copy that brand. So Government of India has introduced one scheme that by this they have given the mandate that 300 brands in India, top brands in India, must have a QR code. Like Mr. Satapathy was telling about this blockchain, all these things. So things are going on, but one thing that it is not that India has become the hub of a counterfeit drug, everywhere counterfeit drug are being sold. Yes, there is a 5% drug is there, 5 to 6% drug is there, maybe a 10%. I don't know the exact figure. But what is going on is not that India is totally flooded with the counterfeit medicine. There may be a political game, geopolitics is also there. But yes, problem is there. So their problem is to solve it two ways. One is the counterfeit drugs. The criminal intent is there, then that is to be controlled by the government, and government is doing well for that. But still the technology is required to be adopted for this. Rules are sufficiently there, so regulators have to work more on this.
Regulator, that means CDSCO?
CDSCO and state, again, this is a good question you ask. We have a two type of control in India. One control is the state government, there is a state licensing authority and state drug controller, and one is the central drug licensing authority, CDSCO. So CDSCO has a different role and the state licensing authority has different roles. So inspectors are appointed by both the central government as well as state governments. So they have also their role to play. So collectively there should be a coordination and coordination going on. There should be more coordination between the state and center. And then I think now the technologies are coming up, this problem can be solved. But as Mr. Doctor has said, some response is not there, something like this, it's all right. But then the government is working on it. And I think maybe 1 year or two, this problem may be minimized. It cannot be stopped because, thief is a thief. Criminal is a criminal. So there will always be a criminal will be there. So it cannot be eradicated. I don't think only India, world over this problem is there.
Yes. But this is when it comes to life is at stake, sir. This is about healthcare that we are talking about. And India, which is known as the pharmacy of the world, shouldn't be rather be infamous when it comes to such counterfeit products and the way that they seems to be, progressing and spreading at a faster pace. How does one counter them?
So, first of all, I thank the Times Now Group for allowing me this opportunity. So we are deliberating on this very serious topic, and I'd like to look at the whole topic from the angle that we doctors are the primary consumers, and it is the patient who is the secondary consumer. And we are the ones who are acting as the guarantors of the product. So there's a loss of reputation for us on a personal level. But the context that you bring, that is that the country is suffering a loss of image, is also a bigger picture. Now that the geopolitics being what it is, and pharmacy, the pharma industry is facing, I would say, existential crisis right now. In that scenario, being very honest and being very clear about the quality is the first and foremost thing that we should do as a country. And for that, all the pharma products, the companies should come together. What I fail to understand, and I don't know, the pharmaceutical industry is basically a manufacturing industry. So if there was some sort of a quality control happening right at the manufacturing level, then that should have taken care of most of these issues. What I understood from Mr. Satapathy, and I do not understand much about this industry, is there are players who would do contract manufacturing, meaning they'll order particular pharmacy, for particular companies to manufacture for them, they'll label them and then sell in the market. That has to stop completely. Because we would like the product to come to us, like the farm to the table. We'd like the product to be produced by the manufacturers and they to be consumed by the user, and there should not be any middlemen or brokers in between, and which would, I would say, take away most of the troubles that we are facing right now. So that would be my suggestion, that we should actually look at possibly some sort of a quality control at the manufacturing level, and then maybe something at the user level like a QR code or some sort of a scanning device by which the consumer knows that this is an original product. I would say this is the way we would look. Regarding exporting to outside, there has to be a hologram. Again, something I speak from a non-technical angle. There should be a hologram or something like that, which would ensure that our products, like Japanese quality, we should ensure that our products are actually of top quality when we are exporting across the world, because that's essential right now given the situation that we are in.
So, sir, where does the problem arise? With the manufacturers or till the time it actually reaches the market on the shelves? Because when it comes to consumers at large, I guess that would be a very little percentage that would be actually checking, when it comes to the QR code or the authenticity of the medicine. It will be, available off right the bat of the shelf in any pharmacy. How does one counter that right from the manufacturer till the time it is available on the shelf?
If you look at the evolution of pharmaceutical industry 2 decades back, there were only 200 manufacturing companies in this country. As on today, when we are speaking, we have more than 1,500 manufacturing companies in this country. The reason why the flourishing happened is there is something called, the slogan came outsourcing. People do not wanted to invest their capital in creating infrastructure rather than using existing infrastructure. So in those days, those pharma companies, the large top 10 companies maybe, when their volume increased, their plant capacity was not enough. So they started outsourcing job work to some other companies, manufacturing companies. There are 2 different types, like one is called P2P or the other one is called lease license, LL. LL is like I take ownership of my quality control. The API is sourced by me. My quality person, control person goes to the plant. He just uses the facility for manufacturing my brand. P2P is there is an existing company who manufactures a brand. I take that brand and sell it.
No middleman.
Sorry?
No middleman.
No. So, but what happened? Later on, those manufacturing companies, they started manufacturing for anybody and everybody who takes a drug license and goes to them, say that starting from any XYG, anybody can take a drug license and go and tell them that I need this much quantity, you manufacture for him. Now, when you manufacture, there are few things, like when we manufacture as a responsible pharmaceutical company, first thing is we do a plant audit. We do the plant audit, not only the plant audit, we do the API plant audit, we do the packaging unit audit. The second thing is when the product is manufactured, we bring that product and do a sterility and stability test in our own lab, and we put that product into stability. Every product has got a shelf life. Suppose the product is a shelf life of 2 years and at 25 degrees centigrade. So that product, a quarantine stock is kept at a place which is at 25 degree. So every 3 months, we have to test the product for the potency to ensure that the potency is not deteriorating, and we have to maintain a record. Now think of a person who doesn't have a quality control facility, neither a lab or a qualified person. He manufactures the product and sell it to the market. The drug law, if you see the contract manufacturing law, there is a law, rule 84E, which says that if there is any adverse reaction, it is the manufacturer and the marketing company, both are responsible. But when, as a company where we check the product at a interval, and when we see there is a potency loss, we have a control of recalling the stock, because the logistic network, the distribution network is in our control. Whereas in the contract manufacturing companies, you never know where that product is. So that's how the amount of low quality, low grade drug have started floating in the market, and that has led to.
But should obtaining license for selling such drugs, should that be made a little more stringent?
I'm not a regulator. I cannot demand that. But yes, I would recommend that we should control this contract manufacturing, and until unless a person have a facility of doing QA/QC test in-house and a sterility stability state throughout the lifespan of the product or the shelf life of the product, they should not be allowed to manufacture and market the product.
So legal framework, would you want to add on that, sir?
See, as Mr. Satapathy said, there is a loan license is there. So under loan license facility, what happened? I can hire the services of the manufacturing company. I can engage my technical person. I can supply my supplies and APIs, and then the drug will be sold in my name. So suppose ABC company, ABC Limited, the address will be of the original manufacturer. That's a loan license. So that is basically Rule 69A already is there. But then what happened, as he said, is from 1980, this practice of outsourcing started. Now it become even Mr. Satapathy was referring this 1,500 companies, but to my knowledge, there is 7,500 manufacturers are in India. 7,500, and 40% of that in Gujarat, and 15% in Karnataka, and 18% in Maharashtra, and remaining spread all over India. So now issue is, today, if we see the practical part of this, one thing as a legal practitioner I see, laws are there and it's very perfect law. Since it's 1940 law. Drugs and cosmetics 1940.
Yes, 1940.
But as for me, that law stands good today itself. It is such a good law. But only thing is that, as he says, stability, QC and QA is concerned. The main problem is that in a manufacturing company, three things are very important. That is called human resources. What is that? Manufacturing chemist, quality assurance, and quality control. So as per my experience, what I found, unless and until these MSME companies, contract manufacturing companies, either bigger or smaller, they have to invest heavily in their technical persons. Because what happened, I will give an example. One small company, some MSME company, whose turnover is maybe 50 lakh crores to 100 crores total. Where is the problem? The owners, they does not produce, knowingly they don't do any work, they produce any substandard drug. But problem lies with the manufacturing chemist. He doesn't know what to mix with what. QC, he doesn't know where these expiry dates are there, how the labeling should be made. So my suggestion is that legislations are already there, but government has to has to think seriously to invest more into the manpowers.
So does the regulator take the call? Because
yes,
regulator comes out...
No, regulator has to take a call.
No, but they come out with, these monthly lists, BP medicines.
So that is an NSQ medicine.
But...
By only publishing that, that's not, you cannot wash your hands away. Like now BAB study, now they have imposed BAB study, bioavailability, bioequivalence study, now they have imposed. It is an amendment of 2017. Now, after 8 years, it is being imposed immediately with immediate effect. So my point is that there should be some arrangement. There should be a panel of experts like CROs there, clinical research organizations are there. They can be roped in to audit these small companies. So they can be given a statutory recognition for auditing these companies. So as he said, big companies have all there. Definitely there's a difference between the product of the big company and small company. We have to understand what is the quality. Quality, when you take a medicine, that medicine pass under the law should pass 92% minimum and 110% maximum. There's a limit to the medicine. What is the strength of the medicine? So if any medicine passes 92% plus, then it's a standard medicine.
Okay.
So now you can understand 92, 98, 104 and 110. So these are the 6% you can go on adding.
Okay.
So if the big companies are there, normally their medicine is found in the 105 to 10% purity. So ultimately over the period of 3 years, it's touched down to 92 to 95%. So that's why they are stable medicines are there. But the small companies, there's a problem. Their manufacturing chemist doesn't know how to manufacture it properly. So that message must go to the government.
Yes.
They, instead of making the companies to invest heavily in a capital investment, like a restaurant, I will give you an example of a restaurant. You make a very good restaurant, invest in crores of rupees, but then chef is an idiot, suppose.
No, but profiteering over someone's health.
No, that I will come on. I will come on that also.
Yes, but I just want to take another comment from the doctors here, 2 of them on the panel, because when we speak of such manufacturers, doctor, do doctors have certain trusted brands that they often, turn to?
Yes, that we actually gain with experience, that it has been utilized for so many years in the patients, and that was working. That's how the trust builds. But unfortunately, particularly post-COVID situation, as a nephrologist, we do lots of drug level testing, and we saw the patients coming with the same dosing. They have a level of 5, 6, 7, 8. Now they are same dosing, they're giving 1, 2 level. That is quite dangerous for the kidney transplant patient. That's why we thought that something is wrong, and that is not related to a good brand or a bad brand. Okay, it is not like that. So in that situation, what we did, that we first had a peer discussions, somebody from Calcutta is discussing my friends in Mumbai, whether you are getting the same thing, the same drug, same brand or not, because it's a very sensitive issue. You cannot disclose or cannot blame or ask somebody and tell that. And if that, yes, my experience is also that we are facing same kinds of thing. In those situations, first we go to the pharmacy and they check the batch numbers, lot number, and if this something is wrong, know the pharmacy, you ask them to inquire with the distributor, and it also ask the company people that this is my finding. And in many situations, the trusted and big companies, they have come and they have withdrawn the whole batch from the whole of the country, and they have given they found something wrong. So this thing happens. So we should, from doctor's perspective, I think we should have a very low threshold for raising the flags, because it is after all the health and life and death of the patients, and also the everything which again in life as a doctor can be ruined in some few days' time.
But does it monopolize certain pharma sectors and companies? Yes.
So that's the million-dollar question. I concur with whatever Dr. Das said. To a large extent, trust has developed over time, and that's the best judge. Now, post-COVID, somehow I've also had the same experience. Smaller companies with no entry barrier have come in, and the whole bad press that we are getting as doctors, as that we have a hidden agenda to promote a particular company. Also, the whole public hue and cry about low-cost generics, all pulled together has messed the waters completely now. And we really need to look at the whole thing. The cost is not at the cost of quality. So we have to look at that angle as well. My point, as you mentioned and he mentioned as well, is very simply, we have to have either a third-party assurance, or we going by what these manufacturers are telling us. But then if you are a manufacturer and a seller, then you have to have that much pockets to be able to do it. Then the whole business will then move into the big players. So how do we answer that? Don't know the answer.
So what initiatives, sir, do you believe that doctors can take, government could take, and then the consumer can take?
I don't think consumer has got any role in this, because
But to check
whatever
at least
is
what they're
prescribed by the
buying,
doctor,
yes.
he has to or she has to
To be
consume.
more aware of what they are buying.
See, bringing in, if you look at the contract manufacturing or the CMO, there is a conflict of interest. Me being a manufacturer, I want to manufacture, then I want the price to be least, and the manufacturer wants to earn the most. So we have a conflict of interest in profit. So the only thing which can get better profit to the manufacturer is reducing the quality. As sir said, the quality parameters are 90% to 110%. Say a paracetamol 500 mg, I can give you 450 mg. Now the parameters are set because over a period of time, the potency loss happens. It is natural. And that's how the shelf life is decided, that over a period of, it should not go below 90%. So in that case, maybe a paracetamol instead of 500 milligram, you have to do 510 milligram, 520 milligram. I don't know that calculation. There is calculation for that. So over a period of time, if you keep it at a room temperature, it will come down to 500 milligram in 2 years' time. That's how the shelf life is decided. Now suppose you put pressure on me. Suppose I quoted a price of 2 rupees per tablet, and you say, no, I need it 1 rupee. So I'll, instead of 450 my drug will pass, because that's the regulatory standards. I'll manufacture 400, so 50 milligram I'll save in every tablet. That is my profit, and I'll pass on that benefit to you. But what happens to that drug over a period of time? 450 milligram will come down to 400. So if the drug is used today, probably it will give you good effect. Over a period, maybe 6 months, the efficacy would be low. So that's what is the scenario today. I'm just giving you one example. If you go into biologics, there is another challenge, like, the contract manufacturers, they manufacture. But the guy who takes it and sells it, there is a serious cold chain to be maintained in that. Or in case of vaccines, if it is not maintained, then, the biologics deteriorate immediately. Like if it is exposed to a higher temperature for maybe 2-3 hours, probably the protein dissociation happens and the efficacy would be 50%, maybe nothing, 0. So these are risks which I think as doctors, they should ensure that these companies sprouting every day and coming to them and selling the drugs, they should not experiment with that.
Yes, but it's a risk. But legally, do you vouch for reforms, especially when it comes to quality control?
See, fairly speaking, I am very much satisfied with what are the already there in the law, and daily the new guidelines and new things are coming up. So I don't think that there is a more requirement of a further stringent regulation. Regulation already is there. How much you are going to find it out? But the one point which I want to address is that this is a necessity to invest heavily in these three segments: the chemist, QC, and QA. Once you invest good amount on this, good education people are there. They take the responsibility, and some private editors. So there is a huge scope for employment also. If they take up the guarantee, by that no law can fix up some guarantee on the CROs or some independent editors and the manufacturing chemists, QC and QA. Ultimately, this problem of substandard medicine is not of standard quality medicine that will wipe out. Because each and every manufacturer knows that if one of the product is found to be NSQ, his at least 10 to 15 years are going into waste because he has to face a legal proceedings. The manufacturing is done, suppose in Gujarat, the drug is sold in the Meghalaya, then the person who is in Gujarat, he has to travel to Meghalaya, and in a company, suppose the 4 directors, 5 directors, all 5 directors to appear in the Meghalaya, the amount they are going to spend on a lawyers like me is a different issue altogether, but it runs into a lakhs. So the manufacturing, the small manufacturer or even medium manufacturer, they don't do the work knowingly. I am not talking of the counterfeit medicines. There's a criminal act. But only because lack of expertise and high manpower, high costly manpower, they are not able to afford, the problem is there. So my only take is today that the government of India should think it very seriously in every forum, not more than 30 forums I have said this. If this problem is taken care of, definitely the quality of the drug is going to be increased and the name and fame which India has as a pharmacy of the world going to be stable.
Well, let's keep up with the reputation of that.
Yes.
But would you want to share any personal experience that you have, encountered something like that with your patients?
One thing I want to share that fortunately or unfortunately I had the experience of visiting the lab in my city. There is a drug control forensic drug lab. So that situation is pathetic. The instruments have not been purchased over the years. So the staffs has been transferred over the years. The one reason they were telling the staffs that one reason is being that it is grossly underutilized because they are receiving 10, 20 samples in a year to test the drug level. So these things are there from the government side. It is there, and we from the doctor's perspective should have a lower threshold for monitoring the drug level. Whenever we have any suspicion, we can always utilize this system. If this system goes up, then is a Meghalaya drug can be tested in Calcutta. So it is no need to take in Gujarat or Mumbai or Delhi lab. So these controlling authorities are there, but that should be slightly strengthened. And because we are now very much aware, everyone in this hall is very aware, our viewers are also aware that there are spurious drugs and that is dangerous for everybody. So that needs to be corrected at every point. It is not the only regulatory or legislation cannot. It is a porous wall. So it starts from the patient's response to the doctor's responsibility to the legislations and is a big responsibility of the manufacturing companies.
So that means, in conclusion, that when it comes to fixing responsibility, because the doctor's reputation is at stake, the manufacturers, and especially when it comes to the patient, because a lot of trust has been put in by the patient, especially when it comes to the doctors and the medicines that are being given by the same doctor to the patient to heal for medical treatment. But thank you very much. This has been actually a very lengthy discussion, but it is important looking at healthcare and no risk that should be also given. And let's keep up with the reputation that India has of the pharmacy of the world, and we are living up to that. But when it comes to counterfeit and substandard drugs, well, that is exactly what I said. Accountability needs to be fixed. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us here. It's been a lovely conversation with you all. Applause, please, for our esteemed panelists joining us here on the stage. Thank you, Pooja. Over to you.
Sure. And Amita, I ask that you please remain on stage for a few moments longer to present each of our panelists a token of our appreciation. I think it's deeply deserved. So if we could kindly have a memento as our way of saying thank you for being here at the India Health Summit and Awards 2025. All right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. They're all combating spurious and substandard drugs in India, ensuring trust, safety, and compliance. A huge round of applause once more for Mr. Durga, Dr. Rohit, and Dr. Pratik. All right. Thank you, Amita, for guiding us through that discussion. So we now move forward to a very special address that combines two powerful forces.